I'm often amazed that we still use BODMAS because it's such an oversimplified rule of thumb. I hate the way that it writes the D before the M. I always write it like this. I hate the way it writes the A before the S. I always write it like this. I hate the fact that nobody can really agree on what the O means, but most of all I hate the fact that it leaves out this utterly crucial piece of information about order of operations. Basically, it's that thing about order of operations is this. You learn in year 7 that, or in year 6, that with algebraic expressions you can leave the multiplication symbol out and just expect people to know that you mean multiplication. It's not just algebra you can do that with. You can do it with anything where your meaning is clear. So for example, that's a 2 and that's a 16. Sorry, that's a 4, that's a 2 and that's a 4. So I've written a 2 next to a 4. I can expect you to realise that I meant multiplication and that therefore the answer is 8. And what I'm telling you in comment 1088 is that when you do that, when you capitalise on the fact that you can leave out multiplication symbols, that binds those two things together in the highest of all possible orders of operation priority. So this is a 32, that's a 2, that's a 4. This principle, 1088, tells you that you must multiply them together first. So that's a 2 times a 4, that's an 8, so it's 32 divided by 2 times 4 in brackets to illustrate the high order priority, which is 32 divided by 8, which is 4. The same principle does not apply if you can see the multiplication. That's just a straightforward left to right working. Now, the final thing I should say is that don't overuse this. I know that you can't see a multiplication symbol there, but that doesn't mean that you do P times Q and then square it. Prior to this principle 1088 is an even more powerful principle that powers only cover what they're physically nearest to unless there's a bracket. So the meaning of this expression is P, Q, Q. So now you have 2 omitted multiplication symbols, and multiplying those 3 together has an incredibly high order of priority, which is what 1088 says. An important application of principle 1088 is that if you want to do a substitution first, just to get your thinking straight, you must use brackets of your own. Now, doing a substitution first is often recommended. It makes sure you get at least 1 mark. It also clears the ground for not making any silly mistakes. So what I'm saying is, if it was P divided by QR, and I tell you that P is 10, or P is 20, Q is 5, and R is 4, you go 20 where the P was, 5 where the Q was, 4 where the R was. Of course, you now need a multiplication symbol so that people don't think you mean 54. But what I'm telling you is that since you've been forced to put a multiplication symbol there in order to make your meaning clear, you now must, in order to do yourself justice, in order so that you can understand what you're doing, and also so that you're correctly using mathematical language, you must now insert brackets of your own, because you had something without a multiplication symbol. That meant that Q and R were bonded together in a very high order of priority. You yourself inserted it, which means you need to compensate by putting brackets there so that the meaning of the expression is preserved. I'll just give you another example. If it was M divided by MR, and M was 100, m was 2 and r was 25, it will be 100 divided by 2 times 25, but you need to put brackets in to make it clear that the m and the r are bonded together. Equally, if it was this, that's not an example of 1088, that's just 100 divided by 2 times 25, which is 50 times 25, which is whatever it is.